Okay. So the Scrum is a method, okay, that you use self-organized teams. Okay. What means self-organized teams? It means that you don't have the boss. Okay. You don't have boss in the Scrum. Okay. In the Scrum, in the Scrum, give me a second, please. In the Scrum, what means is you have uh, the team, and the team needs to cooperate to the solution. The main idea in the Scrum is if you don't produce what is expected, how the team fail. You don't have, for example, you have a team with three guys, for example, Klaus, Leah, and Eli, and for any reason, Eli did not do your work. Okay. In the traditional project, Eli suffered the penalty. Okay. But in the Scrum, because all the team, you see the team, okay? You need to produce a complete software. It's not make sense. Oh, the database is red. Okay, but if the interface is not done, it's not ready, it's not a work. Oh, the documentation is okay, but the software is not done, it's not work. Oh, the interface is good, but if the back is not work, you didn't do your work. Okay, it's the reason that you need a self-organized team. For example, in the meetings in the Scrum, you don't have a boss that define, okay, Klaus, you do it, Leah, you'll do it, Eli, you work in the documentation, Rodrigo, you create the test. No, it's not work like that. In the Scrum, you have the list of the tests, and for example, Klaus needs to see the test, the list of tests, and say, oh, I believe I can help more if I develop I develop the code. Another example, Elise see the test and say, I'm good in the documentation. I will work in the documentation. Okay. Who select what you do is the team. You don't have the boss that say, oh, Eli, you need to do it. Okay, Rodrigo, will perform this test. No, there is no disposition. You see what you need to do, and we together define what we're doing. Okay. The second thing in the Scrum is the product progress in this series of, guys, give me a second. I have a problem in my house. Give me 10 minutes, please. Sorry about that. Give me only 10 minutes. No more than it. Guys, sorry about the interruption. I really have a problem in my house, and I need to stop and to fix the situation. Okay. Okay. Well, I stop. Okay. I'm here. I'm talking about the self-organized teams and start to talk about the product processing series of month long. And in the current projects, most of the time, you don't use monthly, but 2 weeks long. Okay. What it means? You have a cycles when you need to work to the planning, design, and build and test. And this cycle has all the time the same amount of time. Okay. In the beginning of the sprint, the people said, okay, the good period is a month, but after this, most of the project that you had now, you have 15 days long, okay, 2 weeks long, okay. And the name of this cycle is the sprint. It's like in the, did you see in athleticism, you have the 100 meters, or 100 meters is not the good way, the good example, but did you see when you have 400 meters in the Olympic? In the 400 meters, you run in a cadence for 300 meters, and in the last 100 meters, you need to sprint. You need to increase the speed to win the competition. It's like the idea of the sprint. However, in the sprint, all the times you run to deliver a product. It's the idea. The requirements are captured as icon in a list of the product backlog. The main difference between the other approach and the Agile, in particular about the Scrum, you have a list of requirements. But this requirement is not a very detailed requirement. For example, if you use another approach, you need to describe, for example, in the beginning, I'll think about the requirement. For example, what is the requirements is, what you need to do, the non-functional requirements, but more than it, you need to create how you use the requirement. For example, the system needs to have a login screen, okay, a login form. And you need to describe, for example, the use, you type the username, the password, you validate the password before the user send to check if it completes the policy. And when you send the data, you save, you check this information in blah, 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 and return this type of information to the user. It's the way that you describe the requirements in the traditional model. But in the Agile, no, you don't put, okay, the system needs to have, or as a user, I want to have a login screen that I put my name and password and validate my connection. It's something like that. Okay. Scrum and Agile in general, no specifying engineering practice prescribed. There is no engineering. You can use, for example, how you do the test. You can use different types of techniques to do it. How will you describe the requirements? In our case, we define use case, but you can use, oh, sorry, use store, but you can use case is another one, okay? It's the most important. You use generative rules to create an agile environment for delivering product, okay? You don't follow strict rules. It's generative. It depends the context. For example, what you work, for example, I work in the project that I have only research, a very mature research. Okay. The way that we conduct the meetings, the way that we work is completely different than, for example, in the web developing, in the teams that you have experience and no experience guys. Okay. The way that you work is adaptive to the team, to the type of the project. Okay. And it's on of the agile process. To understand the Scrum, I believe it's the the most important picture that you will see today. Okay, to understand the Scrum, you need to understand this picture here. I will explain about the picture, and after I will talk about each component of this picture. Okay. The target of the Scrum is to generate a working incremental of software. What is a working increment of software? I check with my Zoom works. No, it's not work. Yeah, no work. Amazing. Just check here if I have a way to put. No, I don't have. Yes. Okay, I don't have. Okay, what is a work increment software? Is a software that you design, build, document, and testing, or testing and documented. Okay, it's a done software. You cannot deliver a software that you, or a system. Okay, not software, hardware too. You don't deliver a software that you don't test. You need to test. To go to deliverable, you need to be tested the code. Okay, it's the idea of the agile. It's the target. Okay, it's our target. But how the process starts? The beginning of the project, you have the product backlog. What is the product backlog? It's a list of requirements. Okay, it's a list of items that you need to do in the software. In our case, is a list of the user store. Okay, for example, you have the login user store, you have the sensor user store, you have the dashboard user store. Okay, it's the list of the user store, and you save this list in a place that the name is the product backlog. Okay, it's here happens in the planning of the project. Okay, it's similar than the traditional model like the waterfall, when you need to sit with the user and try to describe what he wants. Okay, what is changed is in the traditional models you need to be exhaustive. Okay, you need to identify everything about the requirements, and in the Scrum or in the Agile, you identify what you need to do, who is the client, and why you do. Only it. Okay? Okay, it's the plan phase. It's before you start in the Scrum. Okay, in the sprints. When you start one cycle, one sprint, you have first to define the sprint goal. For example, you have a list of user store. But what is more important to the customer now? For example, you have login, you have the things about the sensor, you have the things about the dashboard, you have things about the report, okay? But now, what is the most important problem to the user? Okay, the name of this thing is the sprint goal. The sprint goal is a sentence that you identify what is the more important thing and that what the user wants to see at the end of the sprint. If your team is a smaller team, maybe you only work in the user store related to the sprint goal. But if your team is big, maybe you can work in the different user stores, including the user store that's not related to the sprint goal. But all the times, the team need to think, okay, I can work with other things, but I need to fix or need to deliver to build what is solve the sprint goal. Okay. Again, the sprint goal is a sentence that describes what I need to do, what is more important to do in 15 days or in the 2 weeks. After you define the sprint goal, you need to go back to the product backlog and select the user store that is required to be done to accomplish the sprint goal. And you move this product backlog to sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is a list of items that you will develop in the sprint. The product backlog is the list of items that you develop in the project, complete project. Okay. So here you select the user store things in 1, 2 that you need to put here in sprint backlog. But again, the user store didn't describe well the task. The user store described what you need to do, the final state or the general characteristic of the product, the delivery. Using the user store, for example, as a user, I want to have a login screen to validate my username and my account. Okay, it's an example of user store. But what you need to do? You need to create, you need to design the solution. You need to implement the solution. You need to test the solution and need to document the solution. Okay? You need to create the test. In this phase here, okay, in this phase here, you get the user store and create tasks to implement this user store. And save where? You save in the sprint backlog too. In the sprint backlog, you have the user store that's required to accomplish in the sprint and the test that you need to do to implement the user store. Okay? Until here, any questions? Okay. Okay, now you have, okay, before I start to talk about it. Product backlog is a planning phase. This selection of the task and definition of the sprint goal is the sprint planning, okay? Is a meeting that you organize, you define what you do in the sprint. And you start the sprint, okay? Remember, it's not 30 days, it's 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks, okay? Okay, you have 2 weeks to get the sprint backlog and transform the sprint backlog in a working incremental software. However, it's a big time. Okay, it's a lot of time to work. You have inside the sprint, you have smaller cycles, 24 cycles. Okay, every day you check the evolution of the project. Okay, you check, for example, you have 4 or 5 people working. The team has 4 or 5 people. Okay, and one working on task, every day you check 3 things: what the team does, what the team did, what the team will do, and the impediments to perform, or in some cases you didn't did what you planned to do because you have impediments, and or you cannot do the next test because you have some impediments. Okay, all days in these 2 weeks, you have a meeting, is the daily meeting, where each member by member, very short, talk these 3 things. Okay, I'm working in the creation of the class. I didn't finalize yet. Tomorrow I work in the class A, B. I will work in the class C, and I don't have any impediment. Or I worked in the test, I developed the class 1A, B. I will develop the class C, but my computers not work well. In this daily meeting, it's a very short meeting, it's a stand-up meeting, okay? You didn't sit, you stand up because the idea is to be not comfortable, okay? You stand up, you just want to talk what you do, what you did, what you do, and the impediments. but you didn't solve problem there. It's a meeting because, for example, I'm working in the class C, but to finalize, I need the database is done. And for example, Leah work in database. Or I'm working the class C, but when I try to integrate with the database has problem. And Leah and I, during this meeting, okay, we can talk about it in 10 minutes late. Yes, okay, you finish the meeting and you go to Leah and meet with Leah and discuss about the problems. It's not a problem solve meeting. It's more a status meeting to the team, okay? And we work every day for 2 weeks. At the end of this process, you have the work incremental software. And you show, okay, the first part here and the plan phase is with customer. The generation of the product backlog you create with the customer. The sprint planning, you perform this test with the customer, okay? And you have, at the end of the sprint, you have the review meeting. Is the time that you show what you did to the customer. You didn't present PowerPoint. It's like a demo session, okay? It's a meeting that you have like a demo session that you show what you did, okay? It's the time to talk again, to receive the feedback. Different than the waterfall process that you receive the feedback only at the end. No, the user define what is more important for them, the users, if they define what is more important to them. And at the end, they check again, they check what you did and see and provides the feedback. Okay, it's perfect, I like it. Or no, it's not exactly what I thought. You need to adjust, okay? What happens? You lost only 2 weeks. You don't lose, for example, months and months. You have another meeting at the end of after the review meeting. You have another meeting that is retrospective, that is only with the team, where we'll talk about the problems that you have in 2 weeks and the solution. It's like what I don't like to do anymore, or sorry, what I need to stop to do, what I need to start to do, and what I need to continue doing, okay? It's this type of meeting. It's the reflection and improvement meeting. It's the things that happens in 2 weeks, okay? After you start a new, you back to the planning and go to sprint, daily meetings, review and retrospective. Planning, sprint, daily meeting, review, retrospective, until the end of the project. The amazing thing is, things that during the review, the user said, oh, the customer said, oh, it's not exactly what I want. I didn't describe well. Is it possible to change the product backlog? Yes, it's possible. You can introduce new features in the product backlog. Any question, guys?
No, teacher.
Now we start to explain detail okay, go ahead. No, okay. I start to explain detail each phase, okay? The first one is Scrum Sprint. What is Scrum Sprint? It's a set of period time during which specific work has to be completed and made ready to review, okay? Remember, all the times, complete work, design, implementation, testing, and document. It's analogous to extreme programming iteration or XP iterations. It's the same thing. The XP don't the XP, the name in the XP is not Scrum Sprint, is iterations. Typical duration is 2 to 4 weeks, okay? But in the newest project, usually use 15 days or 2 weeks. It has a constant durations, okay? it's a very important. You didn't change the size of the sprint, this sprint, because you use the size to measure the performance of the team. You measure the individual performance. You measure your estimation is based in the same amount of time. Okay, it doesn't change. If you start a project and you define, okay, my sprint will have 3 weeks. It will have 2 weeks until the end of the project. Okay. Again, a deliverable project is designed, coded, testing during the sprint. Okay. You need to have a done software. There are some golden rules. No changes are made that would endanger the sprint goal. One time, remember, during the planning, you define the sprint goal, and the selection of the user story in the task is based on the sprint goal. You cannot change the sprint goal during the sprint. If you're during the sprint, you think, oh, I think better, I would like to change the goal to another goal. You cannot. You need to wait for the end of the sprint, and the next sprint, you change. Quality does not decrease. If you didn't have the product done because you didn't test yet, you didn't generate the test, you don't send the product to the delivery. You don't deliver the software. I don't have the documentation. You don't deliver the software. Okay, the quality does not decrease. The product backlog is defined as needed. Again, as an example that I said, during the process, it's the idea. You don't know exactly what you want in the beginning of the project. Maybe in the middle of the project, you need to revisit the product backlog and adapt the product backlog, include new things in the product backlog. It's not a problem. Its scope may be clarified and renegotiated with the PO, the product owner. Okay. The product owner, I will talk in the next slide. You have some rules in the Scrum. One of them is the PO. The PO is the business, is the guy that represents the business inside the team. Important, is inside the team. Okay, is a position in the team. Is the guy that is responsible to define what is important. Is the guy that is responsible to define the backlog. Okay, is the guy that answer to the CEO of the company, and is the guy that represents the company to the team. Okay, everything that the PO said is law because he represents the business, he represents the customer. Okay, sometimes it is a position that the company, that the customer send guys to occupy this position. Okay, I work in a lot of projects that this position is a guy from the company, from the customer. But there are other projects that this position is the company that developed the things has a guy that is in this position. Okay, it's amazing because who pay your salary, your income is the developed company, but you are responsible to defend the ideas of the customer. Okay, it's amazing. As I said, first you have rules that everybody need it's rules that need to exist in the Scrum. The first is the PO. Again, the PO is represent the company or represent the customer in the project. Okay, it defines the features of the product. It defines the product backlog. Okay, not alone. He defines with the team. He decides on the release date and the content. He defined the sprint goal. He is responsible to define the sprint goal. In other words, he defined what you will deliver time by time. He is responsible for the money. He is responsible to transform the cost of the project and profit to the customer. Okay. He is responsible to adjust the feature and priority every iteration. Okay. Again, he defined the Scrum goal, sprint goal. Accept or reject a work results. At the end, during the review session, you show the product that you developed, and PO said at the end, okay, I accept or reject or accept, but you need to fix this part. Another position very important in the Scrum team is the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master represents the managed part of the project. He is responsible for the methodology, okay? But he is not the boss. The managed part of the project does not mean to have a ship that make orders. No, it's responsible to see the risk and to advise the team to avoid the risk or to control the risk. He's responsible to, for example, Klaus working on test, but your computer broken. Klaus is responsible to make the call, to register a call in the call center or in the help desk. However, the Scrum Master needs to follow this process and maybe go to the help desk and say, oh, you can fix the problem quickly because I have my team is blocked because I need the computer. Fix the situation. I'm sick and I cannot work today. Scrum Master is responsible to not to remove the sickness, but is responsible to minimize the impact of your absence. For minimize the impact of your absence. How you do it? Maybe change the task, okay, or maybe adapting or adjust the test that you develop. Things, for example, I need to test my things, I need the database, and the guy that is responsible for database is sick. Okay, Scrum Master said, okay, stop this task and start another one. When the database guy return, you test this thing. He is the guy that's responsible. The Scrum Master is responsible to talk with the PO and explain this current situation of the project and explain the problems, and together the PO find a solution to the problem that you have in the project. Okay. Ensure that the team is full function and productive. Enable close cooperation across all roles and functions. Shield the team for external interference. Okay. But it's more important, he's not the boss. He's responsible for the managed part of the process, but he's not the boss. It's not a guru, okay? In some cases, in the beginning of the Scrum, the people said, oh, he's a guru. No, he's not a guru. Guru is another thing. He's a manager, okay? He's a manager. He's responsible for the manager of the project. He's responsible to support everybody to perform their task, okay? But he's not the boss. He cannot say, oh, Klaus, stop it and start it. No, he cannot. But he can do, oh, Klaus, how I can support better your work? What you think? What you need? What we can improve your time? Here's the task that the Scrum Master needs to do. Finally, you have the Scrum team. Things on 3 positions. PO, Scrum Master, and team. Okay. Typically, a Scrum team has 5 to 9 people. It's a cross-functional. You have programmers, you have testers, user experience design, you have a database administrator. Okay. Members should be full-time, but sometimes you cannot because, for example, database is very expensive resource. Okay. Maybe you have hours of this guy in your team doing the sprint. Teams are self-organizing, as I said, no titles, no boss. Okay, all the people collaborate, all the team collaborate to the final result. Membership should change only between sprints. For example, you still have a team with 5 people. You cannot change the team until the end of the sprint. Okay, If you need to replace one guy, you replace after the sprint. Okay. But what is important? Only 3 positions and very powerful process. The main idea of the Scrum, to understand Scrum, this cartoon is amazing. This cartoon is a famous cartoon. You use not only the Scrum, you use in administration in other courses, but it's like, hey, Piggy, I was thinking we should open a restaurant. And the thinking, I don't know, what you call it? I think the good name is Hen and Eggs. And what the pork said, no thanks, I'd be committed, but you only involved. Why? Because the pig needs to cut his body. And the chicken no only generates the eggs. It's like in the Scrum. It's exactly the same. If you only involve, okay, like when you see the soccer, you are involved. You, my team, you go to the stadium, press the team to go up, to go ahead, and so on. Yes, you are involved. Who is committed is the players. In the Scrum, you are the player. Again, you have one guy that's programming things, the other document, the other testing. If you don't have the testing, you didn't have the final product. You cannot send to deliver the incomplete software on the complete product. You have a guy that works database. Well, the database has a lot of bugs. Again, everybody failed. If the PO does not pass the correct requirements or select what is not important to the company, you fail. It's the reason that all person in the team need to be committed. Any questions? Did you understand? Okay. Again, calm down. We talk about the phrase. I will explain part of the process. Okay. We had a lot of slides yet. So we have now the first activity. Okay. It's a setup activity. Okay. If you are class face-to-face, most of the time I don't use support tools. Okay, it's amazing to work in the whiteboard, use the stickers to do the things. It's amazing to work in the Scrum. However, we are only online. Okay, you are in the Mexico, in your house, I'm here. It's very hard to meet face-to-face. And because we use a tool, a very amazing tool to support our project. It's the Jira. Jira is an agile project management tool. Is not open source, but is free until 10 users. Because our group has no more than 6 people, it's free for us. And it's very powerful because there are a lot of different tools that support a different paradigms of management project. Jira supports agile projects, in particular a Scrum project, okay? And because it is very easy to work, the things, when you see the interface in the Jira, it makes sense for us, okay? What you will do, not now, after I finalize the task here, the presentation, I ask you to open this presentation in the canvas and perform this phase, these steps, okay? But now just only pay attention, don't open yet the page. One guy of the team, okay, the project team, you create a free account in Jira. This guy, in this time, will be the Scrum Master, okay? Well, I think that I didn't say. Scrum Master, in the project, you can change the position. For example, in the first sprint, I am the Scrum Master. In the next one, Klaus is the Scrum Master. The third one, Leah is the Scrum Master, okay? And in our project, Another thing, the Scrum Master can has programming, for example. You can, I work in the project that I'm the Scrum Master, but I have a technical position. I'm the team member. I'm the technical position. I program things. I need to deliver things. Okay. In our project, okay, the Scrum Master, it's the good idea to change. For example, in the first sprint clause is the second year, the another elite. Okay, to everybody has the opportunity to know what is the problem of this position or how to be better, how to prepare the meetings. It's a very good experience. Okay, but from today, one of the guy, one member of the team will be the Scrum Master today and will create the account in Jira, just one. Okay. When you create the account, you the dashboard opens something like that. You don't have any project and you need to create a project. Okay. You create a project. The next step appears. You want a Kanban project, a Scrum project, or a bug tracking project. Okay. Bug tracking is not first, okay? The Kanban is not exactly methodology, but you can use it as a methodology. You don't have a specific sprint. You don't have sprints, okay? Kanban, you use a Kanban in XP, for example, okay? In the XP, you use Kanban approach, okay? In our case, you use a Scrum, okay? Next, you choose the project type. You have two types of projects, the company manager or the team manager. In our case, we use the team manager, okay? You define the name of the project, the Jira, you generate the key, okay? The key is a acronym that you use to create the name of the requirements and other things, the other artifacts, okay? It's an acronym. You can change this name or you can accept what the Jira provides to you, okay? And you need to put the name, okay? You can connect with external tools like GitLab or GitHub. And there is the Confluence Cloud. What is the Confluence Cloud? It's like the Google Docs, okay? However, inside the Jira. It's optional. You can set or you cannot set, okay? It's optional. The good thing to use the Confluence because you have in the same environment all things to, for example, if you need to create a document like a report, you don't need to open in the Google Docs and import to the tools. You can use the tools to generate the things that you need, okay? So after you create the project, you receive a dashboard like that, okay? And in this dashboard, you said, okay, you don't start the sprint yet. Do you want to go to the backlog? You have this you have a roadmap, the backlog. When you click here, you go to here, okay? It's the same. You have the board. I will talk about it later. But now what you do is to create the another account, okay? Add members to your team. How you do it? You go to the project settings and add all of the team members, okay? Add your friends, okay? You click here. Next, you appear this screen. You go to access, the project section, you go to access. In the access, open this form here. And here, you put the name and the who these guys you have, okay? For example, this guy can be an administrator, member, or viewer, okay? You need to put here the email of this guy. And when you put the mail, the Jira will send an invitation to the mailbox of that you set here, okay? Please, I ask it to create an account for each one of you. And for me, please put or member or administrator. I believe it's a good idea to everybody be administrator, okay, in this project, but it's optional, you define. And using my email, put me like a viewer. I would like to have can view your work in the project, okay? In my case, use my email, and I type my email in the chat. Oh, sorry. Why is it? My email is iotgp@techmx. Okay. And you create our user. You add our user that you have in the project. Okay. It's the thing that you would like to do. Okay. How you do? Okay, I stop. I open the canvas. Where's my canvas? I didn't open yet. Give me a second. Open the canvas. You are 301, 302. You are 301 or 302?
One, teacher.
One, okay. One models. Process rules and functions. 5.2. Download this presentation. That is presentation that I talk with you. Okay. And you go to the Jira and you create, one guy create the task and the other guys just only support. Okay. To perform this task, I will create, okay. I need to check how many groups you are. Give me a second. Okay, I will create the breakout rooms. Okay, I will start the breakout rooms. We will enter in the breakout rooms, okay? And I will give you 50 minutes to perform the test. Create the project in the Jira, okay? And add the users inside the Jira. When you finalize these two tasks, okay, the user receive the email, confirm the email. In other words, you have all the things done, you return to the main room, okay? If you didn't return, in the 50 minutes, okay, 1 p.m. is 11. Okay, 50 minutes is 116. 16 is 11:06. I will close the breakout room. Okay, you have 50 minutes to perform this task. Any question, guys? No. Okay, you don't need to put credit card. Don't need to put nothing. Okay, it's just only it's free. Okay, complete free this tool. Okay, you won't need to put this type of information if you want to if you have a project with more than 10 users. It's not our case. Okay. The breakout is open. Enter in the breakout, your breakout rooms, and perform this test. Okay. I'm here. Any question, call me, and I enter in the breakout room. Santiago, do you have problem to join in our group? Okay.
Hello, prof.
Hi, guys. Did you call me?
Yes. We need to only create the project in the software, or we have to do something else?
No, just create the project and add the users.
Okay.
In a few seconds, I will talk a lot about more things, and you go back to the project, and you set up all the projects until during this session. But I need to present more things. Okay?
So like this is okay? Have
Yes, sure.
yes.
Yeah, it's the idea.
We
But
also,
you add the other students or not?
the what?
Okay. Okay, go to the configuration. Configuração do produto. Yeah. Acesso, I believe. The other students, I accepted your invitation.
Si actualizas la página.
It's not appears for you?
No.
Okay. No, I accept your. Didn't appear the order. No, I already accept. Las Palmas is here. But it's not appear the other one. You send invitation to your friends?
Yes.
Sí, pero a mí no me ha llegado. Y, bueno,
Cuando yo inicié sesión, luego me daba la opción de meterme ya al proyecto.
no, ya me aparece, sí, olvídalo. No, ese no es.
I accept the invitation. Use my computer. I accept using my.
Y Eli, ese correo estaba mal escrito, ¿eh?
¿Cuál?
El que acabas de poner.
¿Por qué?
Guáchate. Vuelvo a poner y decía punto items.
Por razón. Nomás lo copié el chat.
Entonces voy yo.
Añadir.
Un grande.
Ahí está. ¿Y cómo quito personas?
No creo
O
que
sea,
haya un correo que diga items, entonces déjalo.
¿La tía te llegó?
a mí
Yo
ya
ya
me
estoy-
llegó.
A ver, Santina, ¿ya te llegó?
Sí, yo ya estoy.
Okay,
Aquí
I'm
está.
here in the
Añadir.
project.
No, está bien.
LP, am I correct? Access. Yes, I don't know what happened. Give me a second. Where are you?
Ya aparece aquí. Aquí ya
Appears
aparece.
now. Yes, now. Okay, perfect.
No hace falta Roy.
To me,
Hi,
put
Alex.
me as a viewer only. No. Okay, you put the other guys. Okay.
Yes.
In my case, in my account, change it to viewer. No.
No se cambia. ¿Por qué no me deja? Dice.
Click here. I believe you didn't see my pointer. Give me a second. Okay, my name, put here. Viewer.
Es que dice que.
What change?
It says because it's the free version of Jira software.
Yeah, maybe because I'm administrator. Okay, no problem. It's okay.
Creo que ya están todos ahora sí. 1, 2, 3. Sí, ya están todos.
Okay, guys. But the idea is only to do it, okay? No more than it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I will return and I will close the breakout room to start to continue the class, okay?
Okay.